This man survived 2 plane crashes, an explosion, and more illnesses than you can count, while also hunting Nazis by boat and catching sharks like they were goldfish. Meet Ernest Hemingway, a Nobel Prize winner, greatest writer of his generation, and apparently a man that could stare death straight in the eyes and tell it to F off. It all starts in 1918. Hemingway is 18, too young to enlist in the First World War, so he volunteers as a Red Cross ambulance driver on the Italian front. His job is to hand out chocolate to soldiers. Simple enough, until an Austrian mortar shell lands directly next to him and explodes. 237 pieces of shrapnel shoot through his legs. The man beside him dies instantly. Hemingway gets up, picks up a wounded soldier, carries him to safety before collapsing from blood loss. Italian officers said he should have been dead before he hit the ground and gave him a medal. And while he did walk away from the incident, his legs wouldn't stay safe for long. Fast forward to 1935, on a fishing boat in the Gulf Stream. He hooks a shark, decides the most reasonable way to get it to stop moving is to shoot it. He pulls out a pistol, drops it fires on the way down, hitting him in both legs, and of course, he once again walks it off. From here on out, things take a sharp turn, and his misfortunes intensify. So let's go through them, one by one. 1936, he gets malaria. 1938, serious car crash. 1944, severe pneumonia. Survived all 3 without breaking a sweat for the most part. While all this was happening, World War II had started, and the way he decided to help was nothing less than pure Hemingway-esque decision-making. He armed his personal fishing boat with machine guns and bazookas, convinced the US Navy to authorize it, and spent months sailing the Caribbean hunting Nazi submarines. He never found one, though he kept on looking. I'm sure nothing else worth mentioning happened for the next few years. Hemingway and his wife were on a sightseeing flight over Uganda when their small plane clipped a telegraph wire and crash-landed in the African bush. They both survived, battered and bruised. A rescue plane arrived the next morning to get them out. That rescue plane caught fire on takeoff, crashed, and exploded. Hemingway escaped by doing what any reasonable person would do in that situation. He used his head as a battering ram to smash through the jammed burning door. He then crawled out of the plane that was actively on fire. Between the first and second crash, he had spent an entire night in the African wilderness with broken ribs, a cracked vertebra, internal bleeding, burns, and cuts, while being surrounded by crocodiles, hippos, and lions. He dealt with it by drinking gin, laughing, and complaining about the mosquitoes. Keep in mind, he was 54 years old. The world assumed he was dead. Newspapers actually published his obituary. Hemingway, somehow still alive, got to sit down with a glass of whiskey and read his own death notices. He later said it was one of the most enjoyable mornings of his life. Luckily, the 50s were a little kinder to him after that. As for the next 6 years, he only suffered from dysentery, skin cancer, hepatitis, diabetes, anemia, high blood pressure, and chronic brain trauma. But here's where it gets genuinely dark. In his final years, Hemingway became convinced he was being watched, wiretapped, followed, monitored. Everyone thought he'd lost his mind. He was sent to the Mayo Clinic and given electroconvulsive therapy, electric shocks to the brain. Repeatedly, it wiped his memory. It took away his ability to write. It was a brilliant cure, he said, but we lost the patient. He took his own life in 1961. Then, decades later, declassified FBI files confirmed everything. J. Edgar Hoover, the director of the FBI at the time, had personally authorized surveillance on Hemingway, phone tapped, finances monitored, movements tracked. He was right. He had been right all along.